Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome to More Than a Conversation, episode number 12. Man, um, I'm your host, General Lee, MC, and I am once again joined by the one and only Forever the Arrowverse.
That's me.
And alright, guys, just for a quick disclaimer for this pod, I want to let each of you know we may run into some internet issues here. We seem to be kind of going in and out with our internet, but we're hoping that this can run nice and smoothly for the remainder of it, and y'all can have an enjoyable podcast. And thank you for Alarming Stone, as usual, for tuning into the podcast. We look forward to your questions or comments. So yeah, forever. How's this week gone for you, really?
I don't know. Kind of slow.
Oh, yeah. This week, I tell you, man, it has been so hectic. I mean, this week I've had so much college work on my back that like I haven't even really been thinking about the podcast, and that's why this podcast is kind of coming out so
Yeah,
late. Is I've just been so
yeah.
busy lately. It's
I
like,
think there was like 2 or 3 days throughout the week that we tried to do it on,
yeah,
and it was just like,
yeah, you can't do it today. Like today, I had like 5 assignments due today, and then I got 7 assignments due at like 9 a.m. on Tuesday.
oh, man,
And so after this pod, I'm probably gonna go try and knock out one more assignment and then do the like last 6 tomorrow night.
that's crazy.
So yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Couldn't
Also,
couldn't be me.
couldn't be.
Couldn't be
But yeah,
me.
I'm excited though. I finally got my associate's degree in the mail, and that was a big
I
excitement.
saw. I saw.
Yes,
Why didn't you have it like a little small ceremony? Like you didn't go. They didn't have like a graduation ceremony.
They do, but just not in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll have to attend like the fall graduation ceremony in like January, and I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
gonna go
No,
through all
thank
that
you.
or not. So,
Nah.
and so me and my buddies are probably just
Nah.
gonna hold on to our degrees and wait till we get our bachelors. But now, let me go ahead and add something here because I accidentally um, uploaded this to the wrong spot, and so I'm gonna quickly work on that. And so, what was college like for you, man?
Stressful.
Stressful.
Very stressful. I had like some of the laziest professors ever.
That is wild.
Yeah, man. Like it would take them like 3 weeks to respond to one email.
Holy cow.
And I'm like, by that time, like the point of the email is already gone. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was, and it wasn't just like one professor here and there. Like it was multiple professors a semester.
That's
Because
wild.
you got to think like when I was in college, it was like the height of COVID. Like I went to college and like my second semester into college, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So my entire my almost my entire college experience was COVID related.
Mm.
So everyone got lazy.
That's
Everyone.
that's wild.
I would literally make trips to the college and I'd be like, look, I need to talk to somebody. And they'd be like, sorry, we can't talk to you. Guidelines.
That's
I'm just like,
that's
we all
wild.
have our masks on. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so my entire, like, even my associates for graduation, like when I graduated Georgia State,
Yeah.
um, everyone was required to wear a mask, and it was in their football stadium, the old Brave Stadium.
Yeah.
Um, we literally sat in the stands, and if they called our name, we would stand up and sit down. That was our entire ceremony.
That's
We
wild.
didn't get to we didn't get to walk. We none of that.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my experiences was a lot different than the average Joe.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it sounds like you had a lot of fun with it, man. And college, it hasn't been fun for me. I've already hit that junior year of college, and I tell you what, man, the fuel is
I
running
will
low. Morale is at an
Yeah,
all-time low.
it it's really bad.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get that back until your senior year.
Yeah.
This entire year is gonna go by, and you're gonna be like, man, why am I even going to college?
Yeah.
And then that senior year hits, and you're like, dude, I got 2 semesters left. Like that's it.
Yeah, man. But
But I mean, I was completely online, so I had to teach myself. I didn't go to campus. I didn't actually get taught. And I'm the type of person that does worse self-teaching. Like I still did pretty good. I graduated with like a 3.4 or 3.5 GPA.
wow.
But I did the same, you did the same degree I did. I was a business. So
Yeah.
those
But
math classes having to teach yourself, bro.
oh
Yes.
yeah.
Goodness.
But anyway, thanks for your comments on college forever. But we are going to jump into our main topic for the day, and as you can tell by the title, we are going to be reviewing Ahsoka episode number 5. Man, what an episode that was! What an episode!
What an episode.
I mean, this episode, it had so much in it, and like I was like the geeky little fan sitting there and like just taking in like every moment with just
Mm-hmm.
complete satisfaction. And it's funny
I
because like I sit there and it's like I know all the information, I understand all the references, the cameos,
right.
and it is firing on all cylinders, but to the people that like haven't seen everything,
Me. Me.
yeah.
So one thing I didn't see was Captain Rex.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was in it until I got on social media after.
Yeah.
But I will say I was watching the episode and I was like, this is so cool. Just from like the aspect of like you filling me in with all the knowledge prior to the show, like this is what happens, this is Clone Wars, this is like et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And like I was like watching the show and I was like, this is so cool. Like they're going back to it. Like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even that.
Yeah.
That like was the icing on the cake. Anakin freaking Skywalker
Yeah.
is like the greatest fictional character of all time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Such a stunning character. Um and
Those transitions were so cold, bro.
they were, and it was so funny because I was sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, those transitions, they hit so freaking hard. But then my dad was
Yeah.
sitting there and he was just like, oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh man.
And I'm
Your
sitting
dad
there
was
just like I've been like so hyped for watching the episode with my dad, and then it was just
Mhm.
like the episode comes and he's like, yeah, that was all right. Had a lot of dialogue. I was like, bro.
That's I just hate that excuse, man.
Yeah.
I really do. I
Yeah.
Some of the best films and media in Hollywood is dialogue heavy.
Right.
Like we watched Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer had like literally zero action, and it's probably the greatest film of this year.
Yeah. And so kind of just going in it piece by piece.
Mhm.
Thinking about what I've seen on like social media and stuff. There was
Mhm.
actually a couple people that was hating on the actor they got to play for young Ahsoka.
It's not necessarily like they were hating on it, but I did see some posts, and they were like, "She's just like getting keys to like every franchise right now."
Yeah.
Like she was young Gamora,
Yeah.
she starred in Barbie,
Yeah.
and now like this Ahsoka
I
thing.
didn't see those posts, but the main post that I can recall seeing was they were like, okay, she did young Ahsoka, and in case you didn't tell from the first Clone Wars sequence, that was Clone Wars season 1. And then in the final battle scene in the Siege of Mandalore, that was Clone Wars season 7. So from a 7 season
Right. I did
perspective,
Yeah. I did see people, like a couple reviews saying that they didn't like that the fact that there was literally no growth in that character
Right.
in those specific timelines. Like she was like still like 13 years old or however old she
Yeah.
was. Like the entire time, even with the Siege of Mandalore, and they didn't like that.
Yeah. So like my first kind of watch and glance at it, I was kind of like confused at first why they left it as the same person because there was like no height change, no. The
Right.
only thing that changed was the
Mm-hmm.
costume design, which the costume designs
Uh-huh.
were spot on. That's one thing that I really took away. All the costume designs they did referencing Clone Wars stuff was spot
Even
on. They did a
Anakin's
really
was
good job
pretty
on.
sick.
What's that?
Even Anakin's was pretty sick.
Yeah, Anakin. That was his Clone Wars armor, and I think did you see any of the post about it comparing his Clone Wars armor in the
Yeah, yeah,
animated
yeah.
series next to it?
Yeah, yeah.
They did a
Mm-hmm.
really good job
Yeah.
contrasting the two. Same with Ahsoka's outfits. They did really well on those. And so
Question for you though, real
yeah,
quick. So I've been seeing some posts online about Hayden Christensen,
yeah,
how he isn't like a great actor and
yeah,
like his line delivery was pretty rough throughout the episode.
yeah.
Do you agree with like his line delivery wasn't great, or
Mm, to
are
be
you
to
really
be
like
honest,
not
I
very really caring about his acting performance?
I'm not.
Because I didn't view it as a bad thing because I haven't got to the point in the prequels to where I can see his acting in the prequels. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if it's the same as the prequels, I don't have a problem with it. But if he's like stiff now and wasn't in the prequels, then I could
Yeah.
understand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
he was kind of stiff in the prequels, and Hayden Christensen for a while, he's been getting a lot of hate, simply because
I've seen that.
they thought he was a stiff actor in all of it. Um,
Hmm.
but it was one of those things. They said it was close to 1,500 people that auditioned for the role of Anakin Skywalker,
Hmm.
and George Lucas was the one that was the main one to head it up, to interview the people, see them do it.
Right.
And he said when he saw Hayden Christensen perform his lines, he said he could almost like see the dark side of the Force in Hayden Christensen as he was delivering his lines, and it was at that moment he knew this is the guy.
Yeah. So I was gonna, that was like part two to my question was like,
George
is the
Lucas loved him, so
character
why did the
of
fans hate
like,
him?
no, is the character of Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader, isn't he supposed to just be kind of low key, like not very talkative, not very out, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Isn't it kind of like a stiff character already? Like that's his personality?
well, the thing is though, is it seems like his personality is supposed to be kind of stiff. However, watching the Clone Wars, that's he has a more like cocky, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's like after he became a Jedi, right?
yeah. This is
Like this is like
he's super cocky,
literally, yeah.
outgoing, um, adventurous, not stiff. And then when you see the Hayden Christensen interpretations, a lot of fans are like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
this isn't the same guy," but it's because they had
Right.
two different actors. Um,
So the voice actor for Clone Wars Anakin.
he did a really good job delivering his lines,
So
to say the least.
a lot of people, yeah, but most voice actors do because
Right.
they're voice actors. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
And so yeah. And I just think that's the main
I don't
reason
know.
is because
I
people
just
get
feel
used to
like,
one actor for Clone Wars, and then you see this other
yeah,
guy in the movies and he's not
sure,
performing that same caliber, but you're basing it
yeah,
off a cartoon, and it's just like
right. I just feel like that's just like a wanky excuse because I feel like Anakin Skywalker is already like he's a stiff character already. Not necessarily like stiff, but like
not like Supergirl from the Flash stiff, but
right. I'm saying like his line
kind of like if there was a
delivery
middle line
feels
from about how much
accurate
you could
to his
be.
character.
Like if there's a middle line for like how stiff you can be in a movie, he's like kind of just leaning stiff slightly, but it's not that extreme to me. I don't
I
really
just,
notice it.
what I'm saying is like his line delivery feels accurate to the character.
Yeah.
Like in that moment where he's like, there's two options, live or die.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were hating on that line delivery, but like that's also like the material that he's given. Like live or
Yeah.
die is not a great line to deliver, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I just feel like it's just hating too much on
And I've got
a
some
specific
context. I got some
sequence.
context on that quote that I'll kind of touch on in a second.
Okay.
And another random stray I saw. So like there was that random shot at what's her name, like Ariana Greenbelt or whatever, that played young Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
There was that random stray that she got for being cast for young
Oh,
Ahsoka
oh,
and more older Ahsoka. But the
mm-hmm.
other stray I saw was people actually made some comments on Captain Rex's armor not being 100% authentic.
I saw that too.
And I was like, bruh, the main
But
thing.
again, it's animated versus live action, and
Right.
there's stuff in animation that you can't portray in live
I know, and
action.
even still, they don't have to do it 100% because there's only about one shot where Captain Rex is in full frame, and that's that one that we just
Mm-hmm.
saw on screen.
Mm-hmm.
There's only about one shot where he's fully in frame. But if you look at that character, you know it is Captain Rex based off
Right.
the parts
I
of the suit
didn't,
that
but
are there.
fans would, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't because I didn't watch. I don't know what
Right.
he's only in the Clone Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why.
Um, and so to me, I thought they did a stellar job on the outfit, and I'll actually have to like take some time and compare them side by side.
You also
But
have to think, considering he was only in it for one frame
they're
fully,
not gonna put 1,000% effort
they're
into
not.
it.
Yeah, they're not gonna spend all this money on an actual accurate comic like suit when he's in it for like 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny also seeing what this episode has done to the community because I've seen so many people like on X and stuff like that saying, "Oh my gosh, we need a live action Clone Wars thing now. Like we need like a live action Clone Wars show where we need a Clone Wars movie
No,
or something."
no, no,
And I'm just like,
not at all.
and that's my thing, like from a diehard fan, right? I would sit
Uh-huh.
there, and of course, the diehard fan mind is just like, yes, I would love to see more live action of these characters. I cannot get enough of them. This is super good. But the realist in
Mm-hmm.
me says those stories have been explored enough, and you can't just keep digging into the bucket. I mean, you
Well, I think my point is like they did the show for a reason.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm getting the feeling, like, because I'm just now diving into Star Wars,
Yeah.
everything that they put out is connected.
Yeah.
It's not like this.
The
You know how
sequels were the
Marvel
only
does
thing
with,
that were
like,
disconnected. It's funny.
were they?
Yeah, the sequels are the only thing that's their own thing. Everything else is kind of intermingled and intertwined.
See, I thought the sequels are like a continuation, like
No, the sequels
post,
did a really poor
like
job.
40 years after the OG trilogy. That's
Yeah,
what I
they
thought.
did a. Not gonna lie, I didn't really
I,
care for how they continued it.
I saw no, somebody was texting me because I had posted like something about Ahsoka,
Yeah,
and they texted me and said that the last movie of the sequel trilogy
yeah,
was based off of a Reddit post about a fan explaining how a movie should go or something like that.
yeah.
I can pull up the message right now actually.
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and say this: one of the things that people don't like about it is that the show kind of just makes full circle. I mean, Rey, she kind of
See, this is what he said.
I do not
Episode
have to
9
press.
was
Okay,
basically.
so alarming stone. I want to clarify. I do not have to press a button for each of these slides. I have a slideshow going on in the background, and that once we kind of start wrapping up our thoughts, I'll end the slideshow and put it back on our main screen. But go ahead, forever.
Uh, he said episode 9 was basically written by fans on Reddit going, "What if?" and then insert crazy fan theory, and then they just rolled with it.
That's wild.
Like a bunch of people online was like inserting crazy fan theories, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it."
Yeah. But to me, the sequel trilogy, it kind of just felt like they went full circle, and they didn't really change a whole lot other than that, oh, the big bad has been defeated. And then they also did the thing like they would have had a cool idea of Rey going on this journey and figuring out that she's a Palpatine and kind of like accepting
Oof.
that part of her life and going on and still trying to do good even though that's her family. But no, they kind of just retcon that. Like it's just like instead of accepting the fact she's a Palpatine, at the end of the movie she just goes like this just random old lady walks up to her at the end of the movie and just go, "What's your name?" And she's just like, "Oh, I'm Ray Skywalker." And it's just like, why is that needed?
All right. Few more points on Ahsoka.
Okay.
All right. Number one, when it flashed back to the Clone Wars and we saw the young Ahsoka fighting,
Yeah.
I saw somebody say that they didn't like that because she was literally over here stabbing people in the chest with her lightsaber, and she isn't a killer, and she wasn't a killer in the show. But then their flashbacks like this are saying that she's just straight up murdering all these people.
Okay. The thing for that is, okay, if you watch the show, you never see someone explicitly kill somebody. It is always kind of hinted that way, but never explicitly shown, because the main theme is they're fighting battle droids the whole time, and so they can just slice battle droids up and everything's fine. While you can see clone troopers get shot by the enemy, and it's not the heroes killing the other heroes; it's kind of just the enemy killing the other heroes. But as far as the Jedi, you never explicitly see them kill anyone. It's always kind of hinted, like you may see someone like slice a Mandalorian's jetpack, and then they go spiraling off into the sky and explode into the side of a building.
Yeah.
They didn't like inadvertently do that. They sliced the
Right.
jetpack and they inherently die. But like Ahsoka,
So you didn't like the fact that she was over here, straight up
I was fine with
slicing
it.
people's chest open.
I was fine with it. I didn't care. And that's like one of the main things we see with her is it's not like I think the one where they tried to go too far was when she like straight up impaled a guy at one
Yeah.
point. Because normally it's kind of like the slash the chest type thing in all of the fights. I
But-
mean, you never see them like straight up
but-
impale someone.
But isn't that the point of like the lesson that Anakin was also trying to give her? Because she was like, "What if I don't want to fight anymore?" And then he goes, "Then you die." And
Right.
then it cuts to like the siege of the Mandalore, and she's like over here slicing people's chest open.
Yeah.
Like she was okay with fighting to not die.
Right.
Isn't that kind of the point of it? Also, what was the lesson that he was trying to give her?
Okay. This is my interpretation of the lesson, okay? It's not an actual lesson, okay? So the last time Ahsoka sees Anakin is in Star Wars Rebels. She fights him while he's Darth Vader. She's grown up, she fights Darth Vader, they get into this big fight, and then as soon as she figures out Vader is Anakin, she kind of just
She stops?
she gets on her knees and says, "I won't fight you."
Mm.
Now that line sounds familiar.
Yeah, she said it at the start.
She said it at the start as well. They kind of recalled that. She laid down and said that I won't fight you, and then he goes, "Then you will die." And then basically in Rebels canon, Ahsoka's supposed to die there. However, later in Star Wars Rebels, Ezra, main character of Star Wars Rebels, discovers the world between worlds where Ahsoka and Anakin were, and he finds one of these gateways to the past, and he saves Ahsoka before she is killed. Um, and then later, things happen. They have to run and try and escape. Ahsoka jumps through a portal that teleports her back to that place just after the Vader fight. Um, and so now here it is. It's come full circle again. She wouldn't fight. She was willing to, die.
Hmm.
And now here it is. She has come back faced with Vader again, and he sits there and he says, "Live or die." Well, my interpretation of this is when she fought Balin Skull, she died. I think
Right.
legitimately she
I
died.
legit thought she died.
I think
I thought the point of the lesson was just like him saying, if you're done fighting, you're dead right now.
basically that's the
If
same
you
thing.
have a
That's the
point
same.
to go back,
That's the
if
same
you
that.
have a purpose to go back, then to go back. You have to choose to live.
Yeah.
That's just what I thought was kind of like the lesson.
That's what I thought the lesson was as well. It's either A,
Okay.
you are going to fight to live, or you are going to lay down and die. In
Okay.
Rebels, she had chose
So
to
we're on the
lay
same
down.
page.
In Rebels, she had
We're on the
chose
same
to lay
page.
down and die. In Rebels, she chose to lay down and
Mm.
die. But now in this one, we've seen she has made that growth, and instead of just succumbing, saying "I choose to die," she's now come full circle, and she says "I choose to live," actually fighting Vader, beating him, and then sparing him, saying "I choose to live." Um, and it is that
But did she
moment.
really beat Vader?
I mean,
Or is it plot armor? That's a good question, is it not?
I mean, I think she beat him, and that's because she disarmed him and had the lightsaber to his throat. If she was actually
I don't
going,
think he was really trying though.
that is a valid point. Is he fully trying,
I don't think he
or
was.
I don't know? Because there was a lot of people that I saw thought he was fully going at it.
I don't think he was.
I can see it,
All right.
and
The lightsaber battles that I've seen like clips on Instagram
yeah,
with like him and Obi-Wan like in the prequels.
yeah,
If he was fighting like that, she would not stand a
yeah,
chance.
yeah.
I don't think he
Um,
was going full force.
Well, the thing is, though, all right. So this is going to be a point that I don't think you will kind of see because you didn't see Rebels. Ahsoka in Star Wars Rebels fights a whole lot faster than what you see in the live action. See, in
She
the
does fight really slow, but I thought that was just the like I thought that was just like them not wanting to put effort to train her in like actual lightsaber battles like on sets and stuff. I just assumed that it was just their way of not giving full effort
see, and I can see that.
in production.
I can see that, and I can see that, maybe one reason they're not putting as much effort into a detailed lightsaber fight is because, just budget wise, this isn't going to have a big blockbuster movie budget, so we're not going to spend a
Yeah.
whole lot of money on that. And so I think they're doing the best with what they've got. They're delivering a, a good lightsaber fight, but it isn't the best lightsaber fights like we saw in the prequel movies that had
Hmm.
those big movie budgets. Um,
But
and
this is the same point that I was talking to you about, like when we reviewed episode 1 and 2. She's slow, period.
right,
Like everything she does, she walks slow, she talks slow, she acts slow, she does everything slow. So
yeah,
I'm really not surprised that she kind of fights slow.
right. And it's so funny seeing this in live action because, like in the cartoons, though, she fights so like she
But
almost looks
she's
like
also
a blur 9 times out of 10 in the
she's also like a kid slash young adult, so she's got faster movement, just sheer being young, right?
right. right.
What's her age in this show?
And
I thought
this,
it was like early 40s.
I don't know if we're that old yet.
You don't think we're that old?
Well, we'll have to see. I actually think she's more late 30s. And my point
Okay.
for that
But that's
is
still like people
because
really do slow down like early
the,
30s.
the way that I will know is I would need to know how old Luke Skywalker was at the end of Return of the Jedi. If you want to look that up, you can. Because once I know how old he was at Return of the Jedi, I can tell you pretty accurately how old she would be. Because from what I've seen, by the Siege of Mandalore,
At the end of what? Return of the Jedi?
Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Is that like episode 6?
Yes.
Luke Skywalker is 23 years old in Return of the Jedi, the third Star Wars movie, which released in 83.
Okay. So, Ahsoka was 17 in the Siege of Mandalore. And it was at the Siege of Mandalore, it was just after the Siege of Mandalore, where Anakin caves to the dark side. So if she was 17 then, 23 years later, when Luke saves the day, that's going to make her 40 then. And then so she's going to be early 40s. It's pretty good. That was actually a really good guess forever. I don't know how you pulled early 40s out of the air.
I'm goaded.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
why.
based off that math, and I'm going to give it a few years for fluff, like,
Yeah, right.
by the time
So,
by the time
so
Palpatine is
like,
defeated, she would be 40 on the dot. But give it a few
so
years, so she'd be like 42, 43.
Luke Skywalker could technically make an appearance in the show.
He could. I don't think they will. Also, did you notice the Princess Leia name drop?
No, did
Um,
not.
Whenever Carson Teva comes up and is trying to get Hera to speed things up, and they need to go
Mm-hmm.
back, he said Senator Organa is boss all the time she can. Princess Leia Organa is the only senator that age by then.
Okay.
Um,
This might be a hot take here.
hot take. Okay.
Yeah. Respect to the actress, R.I.P.
Yeah.
I don't really like the character.
You don't like Ahsoka?
No. I don't like Princess Leia.
Oh, you don't like
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not a big Princess Leia
I feel
fan.
bad. I forget her
I don't
name.
really. I don't really like the character.
Yeah, Princess Leia. She's a nostalgic character. She was a big thing in the past. But I think my low rating of her simply because of I've seen so many other characters in the franchise and characters from my time frame in history. That she doesn't have that same effect as someone who saw.
Ahsoka is literally like a 40 times better character than Princess Leia.
Right.
And I've seen, for reference, I have seen the OG trilogy.
The one Star Wars material you saw before watching this show.
I've seen, so this Phantom Menace is episode 1, right?
Correct.
I've already seen this one. I'm rewatching it because I wanted to do it in the timeline order.
Right.
I've seen the OG trilogy and I've seen episode 1. I was like an hour into episode 2 by the time I just never finished it.
What was the last thing you saw in Attack of the Clones?
I remember. Oh, maybe I was actually further in the episode than I thought. I remember seeing, I think Anakin like fighting Palpatine or whatever his name was.
Dooku?
Dooku or whatever his name was.
Count Dooku.
I don't know. Yeah, I remember seeing that. I also remember seeing
you only
Darth
had like 30
Maul.
minutes left in that boy, mate.
Really? Because
Yeah.
Was Darth Maul in the original trilogy or the prequel?
Uh, Prequel.
Yeah, I remember him too.
Yeah, he was in Phantom Menace.
That was episode one or two?
That was episode one.
Two?
That was episode one.
Phantom Menace?
He shows up
Phantom
in
Menace?
Phantom Menace and dies in Phantom Menace.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. So I've already seen episode one in full, and I was rewatching it. But I will say this is like as I'm rewatching it, young Anakin's not he's just not for me, bro. Like I don't really dig this kid Anakin, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I feel like the entire trilogy should have been adult Anakin with like the council and everything. That's what I feel.
Right. It was kind of their way of, giving context to the character and setting up everything instead of just being like.
I think it was just a filler episode. I'm gonna be real honest with you.
No,
I
and
think
look,
it's a filler.
this is why I say it wasn't because look,
Is there really any importance of episode one? Like significant importance in episode one?
significant info would be the draw towards war. Okay, because of the acts of the separatists in the beginning of Phantom Menace, we now know that they're ramping up for war, and then, also, in order to be a Jedi, you got to be trained as a kid. You can't just be a full-grown man and train as a Jedi. You kind of go in as a kid and begin your training.
So why is Luke? So Luke Skywalker is technically not a Jedi?
Luke Skywalker had improper training, to say the least. He's not a proper Jedi, though he is a Jedi. He was trained in the Jedi arts by Master Yoda.
Okay.
He received the correct training. Well, not even at that. It was kind of ghetto training what he had to do, not the formal stuff.
And that was like in the swamp or whatever that place
was, in the
right?
swamp.
Yeah.
And so he didn't really receive proper training, but he's been listed as a Jedi Knight because he was trained by a Jedi Master.
Do you also think that Anakin being his dad had a lot to do with that? Like by natural genetics, he would technically, the Force would be strong with him, per se. You know what I'm saying?
The Force would be strong with him, and it makes it a more desirable person to train. Like you even notice that in like Hugh Yang's comments about with Sabine, like she doesn't have the Force in her like everyone else does, and so she's really a terrible student. So
I don't like
when
her.
training a Jedi, they would tend to find Force-sensitive younglings, is what they refer to, Force-sensitive younglings, and then they would train them as Padawans in the Jedi. They would train as younglings in the temple.
Okay.
They'd be assigned to a Jedi Master, and then they would be that Master's Padawan. That's how we saw, which is kind of weird because like Anakin wasn't a Jedi Master, yet he was given a Padawan. See, what's funny in Clone Wars is Anakin was Obi-Wan's Padawan. Anakin was training under Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi was under Liam Neeson's character, right?
Yes. Liam Neeson, or Qui-Gon Jinn, trained Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was in the process of training Anakin when Anakin was given his own apprentice, Ahsoka Tano. And what was supposed to happen in Clone Wars was it was supposed to be another Padawan for Obi-Wan Kenobi to start training. He was supposed to kind of train Anakin and Ahsoka, but he kind of instigated it in a way so that Ahsoka could serve under Anakin.
Interesting.
I think it was something that like Obi-Wan and Yoda kind of worked out. And so yeah, he ended up training Ahsoka. So wasn't a master, ended up getting his own Padawan, trained her in non-traditional ways. Like he didn't train her how the normal Jedi would, because he wanted her to be able to.
Right,
All the
and
Jedi
that's
were taught the same way, and so he taught her differently so that she could beat their training, essentially.
Yeah, all of that was given information in the show, right?
Right, kind of.
Ahsoka, like, she's he's the robot's always like, oh, this is proper Jedi order, this is proper Jedi way, and she's
Right.
like, no, like we're doing our own thing type thing.
Yeah, because she got trained doing
Okay.
Anakin's own thing, and then
All right.
also, not just that,
All right.
but because she left the Order, she doesn't really follow its ways.
Mhm. All right. One more thing from episode 1, and then we'll get back to Ahsoka.
Okay.
How do you feel about the age gap between Anakin and Padme?
The age, the age gap between Anakin and Padme. Um,
Yeah,
it's
I thought that was kind of weird.
it looks weird until you realize that he's like, I think it's only like an 8 year gap. It's nothing like that. I think like Anakin was like an 8 to 10 year old kid, and she was like 16.
That's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy because we think
If the
more in like,
roles were if the roles were reversed and he was 16 and she was like 8 or 9, everyone would be flipping a lid.
yeah. Um, but people don't like dive too deep into it because I think as long as it's like under 10 years, and like if it's from like a franchise or like a movie perspective, as long as it's less than 10 years, I'm okay with it. Me personally, I'm only gonna like marry someone that's like 2 years older or younger than me. But
Yeah.
like and like for a theatrical point of view, it doesn't bother me unless the kid's like 10 years old marrying a 20-year-old. They've at least got to reach that adulthood where they're both above their 20s.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I mean, I just thought it was kind of weird because like it was this almost grown woman,
and it's
and
also
then
it's just
and
it's
then they
also
have a
so
love
funny.
interest in the next 2 movies. It's kind of weird to me,
Yeah. Um,
you know?
yeah, and like the thing is, I think they just kind of they weren't. I don't think they were thinking about age when they cast the characters. I think when they did the
Mm-hmm.
casting, they're just like, okay, this kid, we like his acting. We think he's gonna do a good job. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're gonna go with Natalie Portman. She's doing stellar. So we're gonna roll with these two actors. But then by the time you reach Attack of the Clones, now it's Hayden Christensen, a much older
Right.
actor, and so it
Right.
looks the age difference is going to be a lot
Because
more
it's that
closer.
time jump,
It's
but they still kept Natalie Portman.
right. Um, but the thing is, though, if you never saw if you never saw um, Phantom Menace,
Right.
you would think that they
Because
were
like
the same
episode
age.
2, it was episode 2. I'd be watching it. I'm like, all right, these they're like the same age.
Right. But if you watch Phantom Menace, then you realize that like holy cow, there's like an 8 year age
But it's
gap
just
here.
it's just weird.
Right. Um,
Anyway, back to Ahsoka because
back
we
back
get
to
kind of we're
Ahsoka
getting
because
kind
we're
of
trying to talk
sidetracked.
about the entire Star Wars franchise instead of Ahsoka episode number 5.
To be fair, you're welcome. All right, this is like 6 years of friendship in the making. All right.
Right. Been a friend with you since I was like, what, ninth grade?
Something like that.
something like something like that. Went into the ninth grade, started hanging out with you, was like super in love with like history and Star Wars, and then there's just homie that's just like, yo, did you see the Houston Rockets or that CP3? And it's just like,
Now, see, the thing is I've been a Marvel nerd my entire life. So if you would be talking about Marvel, I'd be talking about Marvel. But I will say, my mom
yo, that's
hates
wild,
Star Wars.
Lionstone. That's wild.
So my mom hates Star Wars. So like growing up, I could never watch it on TV because if it was on, she'd make me change it. Same with
Right.
football because she hates football. And so those two things really took me until I was grown to where I could watch it on my
Yeah,
own
me.
without bothering anyone else to be able to actually get into it.
I had seen like
So,
bits and pieces of the movies growing up as a kid, but never really got
mhm,
into the franchise. And then like
mhm.
saw a few episodes of Clone Wars, but it wasn't until I was in high school that I actually went and rewatched all the movies, and
Right.
then
See,
actually
that's
was
the
able
thing.
to
Like,
start getting into
so,
the franchise. And
mhm.
then once I finished the movies, whenever they came out with Disney Plus, whenever Disney
Yeah,
Plus aired,
that's what it
one of the
was for me.
one of the first things I did as soon
Hmm.
as Disney Plus came out is all of uh, went and watched all of the Clone Wars and all of
Hmm.
Star Wars Rebels. Just went and binged
Hmm.
every single one. Um, I
That's what
actually
it was for me.
remember
Like
a point in time.
I didn't watch the OG trilogy for the first time until I got Disney Plus like a year ago.
Dang. But yeah,
Yeah.
me like I think what I was like 16 or 17 whenever I watched um, all the Clone Wars finally instead of like having those few episodes I missed. I
Hmm.
was actually able to finally watch the whole thing when I was like 16 or 17. And it's tough because I actually ended up finishing Star Wars Rebels before that because Star Wars
Oof.
Rebels came on Disney XD. Um, and so like when I
Oof.
wasn't watching Pair of Kings or like any of
Hmm.
that, I would tune in and watch Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
And we were actually able to watch and finish Star Wars Rebels on regular TV. Then whenever Disney Plus came out, watched all the Clone Wars, watched all of Rebels, then rewatched all the
And
movies again. But like,
then they made Mandalorian,
and then it's just like a whole
and then
new
and then
world.
and then they struck out with Boba Fett,
Yeah, Boba Fett. The only thing that carried
and
Boba Fett,
then
in my opinion, was the Mandalorian cameos.
I heard Andor's like really good.
Andor was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Is Andor the best Disney Plus Star Wars project, or do you like Mandalorian better?
Um, oh, that's kind of tough because Mandalorian season one, phenomenal. It was incredible. It was a
Mm.
work of art. However, I
The
wasn't a big
thing with like
fan.
the Mandalorian is I think they extended the child or whatever he's called the child, right?
Right, it's Child, Grogu,
The
Baby
child,
Yoda, whatever you
Grover,
want to call him.
whatever. I think they extended that way farther than they wanted to because it became a fan favorite.
Right, and then now it's just
I
fan
haven't
service trying
seen
to
it,
give
and
more.
now it's just like Mandalorian isn't Mandalorian without that.
Right. So I think they should have
I don't
stopped
know.
like after season one because season one was so good. I knew they were gonna do
Hmm.
season two, and I was hyped for season two, but I
Hmm.
don't think they needed a season three. Um,
Mm. Hot
uh,
take.
yeah, hot take. I didn't think Mandalorian needed a season three. To me,
Do
it
you
kind of
think
lowered the value of it.
do you think Ahsoka could get a season two?
I think they've already announced that it's being renewed for a season two.
Really?
I think I
I have
saw an
not seen
announcement for
such
that.
information.
Um, look it
I
up.
don't think they
Look,
would say that because of the strike going on. I don't think they can.
uh,
I
mm, look it up just to like double check. But I swore I saw something about Ahsoka season two. Um, I could be wrong. I could have just observed a fan post on accident, um, which is probably most likely what happened. But yeah, to me, Andor was.
you'll get the better at um you'll get better at deciphering what's real information and what's clickbait. But you just
I
downloaded
usually
Instagram, so you're
well, I usually know. I can decipher them pretty well. I think it was just I can't remember my thoughts. I just remember seeing something that had like Ahsoka season two in it, and I can't remember what my thoughts were on the time because it came out like before season episode one even came out, really, or it was like right after episode one actually. Um, so that's been like what 5 weeks ago.
so on September 2nd, it was published that Ahsoka is only a limited time series, which means it's only going to be one season and concluded after the eighth episode of the series.
Right.
But this is saying, according to industry insider Daniel RPK, a second season of Ahsoka has already been greenlit.
Okay. So possible chances of it, not fully confirmed yet, but there is a chance for a season
Correct.
two, um, which
Correct.
I'll be stoked for it because I think the direction they'll take now is because we initially thought in our original theories that oh Thrawn's gonna come back, he's gonna win in this,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
fight him in Dave Filoni's big movie. Um, However, I
Dave
think
is a
now if season
genius.
2 gets greenlit, I think they're going to
Hmm.
try and resolve some of those conflicts in that and then have something kind of similar or different for Dave Filoni's movie.
Interesting. All right, back to Ahsoka.
For like the sixth time. Back to Ahsoka.
Yeah. Which I will say this, it is hard to talk about one specific thing and not other parts of the Star Wars universe when it is so
So
connected
connected.
like this.
Yeah.
Um, this is me becoming a new fan, right?
Right.
And um, although I've enjoyed the mess out of Anakin returning for this episode,
We don't need more of him.
do you feel like they're using Hayden Christensen as a cameo puppet right now?
Um, I don't.
Because he was in Obi, wasn't he in Obi-Wan?
He was in Kenobi. I will say that. But you can understand the reasons. You can understand the reasons, or you can justify the reasons for both Kenobi
Okay,
and this one.
all right.
Because Kenobi, he's battling this guilt, this
Uh-huh.
trauma. You'll see it in Revenge of the Sith when you get there. But after the events
Okay.
of Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan, spends the Kenobi series.
Isn't that kind of like why Obi-Wan is kind of like reserved in the OG trilogy?
Well, he becomes more reserved, but like in the Kenobi series, he's actually more like kind of frantic and almost like schizophrenic when Anakin's name comes up.
Okay.
Because like Anakin was his brother, it was his friend, and he had
Right.
to kill him because he came to the dark side. Then in episode 1, you get the dump, Anakin's still alive, and then that starts messing with Obi-Wan's mental state because now here it is like this psychopath is coming for me. I was barely able to defeat him. He's coming for me. I failed. What's going to go on? And so he's kind of like scared the entire TV series, and he has one of those flashbacks to. And at one point in the series, he's trying to cope with the past, and he has one of those flashbacks to a day he trained Anakin. And then now here it is in the Ahsoka series. This is Anakin coming and completing training with Ahsoka so that she can, move on and stuff.
Okay.
But I think if Anakin
So
shows
they're
up again
justified.
in this show,
They're justified appearances,
they're justified.
but you're
appearances.
saying moving on, you don't really feel like there's any other characters that he's tied to.
Right. See,
Okay.
the only other thing that I could see Anakin popping up in Ahsoka, I don't think he needs to show up in Ahsoka again.
I don't think so either. I think he served his purpose.
Given the only way I think he serves that he can, the only purpose he can serve in Ahsoka now is if you have a scene that happened like in the original trilogy where you hear Hayden Christensen's voice and it helps Ahsoka make a decision in a fight scene with Thrawn or something. Or if they save the day, you kind of do like all the Star Wars movies and you see his Force Ghost at the end of it. At the end of the original trilogy, you saw Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin all show up at the end of the original trilogy when they saved the day. At the end of the Kenobi series, you had Qui-Gon Jinn show up. At the end of the sequel movies, you had Luke and Leia show up as Force Ghost. So the only things I can see Hayden Christensen showing up as Anakin again is either A, you hear his voice and it helps Ahsoka make an important decision in the show, and like a climactic point like life or death, save the day,
Okay.
lose everything, a decision where she like hears his voice and it helps her make a decision then. Or it's one of those things if they save the day and it's kind of like
it's
that
like
closure scene.
so if like in like episode 8 where she's like battling the blue guy, whatever his name is,
Right.
Thrawn,
Yeah.
and like Thrawn is basically defeated her, and she's like beat to a pulp,
Right.
and then she sees Anakin's Force Ghost, and he just says live or die,
Right.
and that like that'll give her like the extra motivation to finish it
Yeah, or
and get
something
up
like
and
that. It's,
fight.
just, it's gonna have to be
Okay.
something like that to
In
try
order
and
for him, okay,
in order for his appearance to be justified. If it is
okay,
anything else, it is just a money grab.
all right, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's the same. I'm the same way with like Marvel, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield right now. Like, I don't want their characters to be cameo puppets right now.
Right.
You know, and there's so many news outlets saying that they're going to be in Secret Wars, they're going to be in this project, they're going to be in that project, and I don't want that. You
Right.
know, like I'm already so frustrated with like the multiverse right now because they want to tie every project that came out 40 years ago to the entire
Right.
MCU,
I think they even
and it's
noticed
just
that the
it's
guy
so
that I think I even just saw an article the other day that said the guy that played the original Blade is going to come back in Secret Wars.
yeah. Why? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I it's just I'm frustrated there, and I don't want people to become cameo puppets just to get people in seats.
Right.
So I
But
know
it's
how
it's
that,
it's so
you know.
tough because like I understand that, but now we're trying to watch like these movie theaters. They're trying to come up with these strategies to try and fill seats
Hmm.
because with the advent of these streaming services and the repercussions from COVID,
Hmm.
we are seeing we saw literally theaters
Hmm.
dying.
Right,
The film
right.
industry is struggling.
COVID had so much to play with that though.
And so it's just sitting there. We're seeing the film industry
But
struggling to get back on its feet, and now you're seeing these film industries doing everything they can
yeah,
to try and scramble up and make money or
mhm.
fill seats or
If they would just make good films, we wouldn't have this problem. But
right,
half of Hollywood is utter garbage right now.
right. But anyway, I
All right.
think we've covered most everything in Ahsoka episode 5. I'll kind of give like a quick rundown
Transitions.
real
I
quick.
just I want to say again, the transitions were so clean.
Transitions were really clean, and now
Oh
for
my
this,
god! Like I cannot. Like bro, so good.
to me, I'll kind of wrap things up. I'll say some general thoughts I had on
I
the
got
episode.
one more question for you though.
Okay, one more question.
All right. Well, it's kind of like a two-part question.
Okay, two-part
Number
question.
one, has any other Star Wars Disney Plus shows been announced?
Been announced.
Yes.
Acolyte, Rebel Moon,
Okay.
Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
There's a few of them coming out.
All right. What Star Wars character do you think deserves or slash do you think is getting their own Disney Plus show next?
I don't think that there really is many that deserve it. Um, I don't think there's many people or many characters that deserve something like that. Um,
Hmm.
Ahsoka was a surprise, but it was something that fans were hoping for more Ahsoka content. And there's already been so much Clone Wars stuff figured out. If you were going to revisit some old characters,
Hmm.
the way I think you do it is I think you go before the prequels and you do an early Jedi movie or show that looks at the at the kind of founding of the Jedi or what became the
Yes.
Jedi that was in the prequel movie. Like you
I would
see
love that.
like you see Yoda come into power, you see Qui-Gon Jinn and
I
Plo
would
Koon
I would
and Kiyoshi
love to
Mundi.
see I would love to see like a show of just like character like whoever the first character was that had the force or like discovered the force and just like them discovering the force and like learning their power.
I think that's actually a movie coming out.
Really
Yeah, I think there's actually a movie coming out.
interesting.
It's gonna be like way in the future, like a 2025 movie. But
Interesting.
it's supposed to be like one of the first people that like had the force and like created like the first lightsaber or something like that.
That is dope.
Right.
All right. I got a couple more. One's a question and one's not a question because I
All right.
know we've rambled a lot and
Yeah,
we're
we're at an hour and 3 minutes right now.
okay.
Yeah.
Number one, uh, I know from like episode like when we reviewed episode 1 and 2, she
Right?
finally got the white cover coat
Yes,
thingy,
she finally
whatever you
got
want
the
to call
coat.
it.
And
I want to point that out.
I think I know where you might go with this. You probably won't, but I think I may know because I
No, you're
saw a
not.
post
This
about this.
my actual question has nothing to do with that. Like I actually just wanted to point that out because I
Oh,
thought that was cool.
okay. There's actually something I need to let you know about that.
Go for it. I'm
Okay,
all ears.
that's a retcon.
A retcon?
At the end of Star Wars Rebels, Ahsoka had released her peace, her inner circle. You know, she had come to fruition with herself, and she had the white robes at the end of Star Wars
Oh,
Rebels. Then we see
so
Ahsoka pick
she
up.
got it.
So
She
now,
got it because she was at peace with fighting and living.
yeah, I think she had reached that point
Brilliant.
where she was just like at peace. She's got the white robes. She's like
Brilliant.
this really good Jedi now. It's kind of powerful, at peace, in tune with the lights. And then as soon as the
Brilliant.
Ahsoka hits, it's like all of that's like poof gone. She's in gray robes, and now she's got to relearn that lesson.
Okay.
And so that was a retcon that we noticed that they made. That they just like, we know this happened in the show. We're gonna cut that out, and we're gonna tell it this way. Now,
Okay. All right, that's not bad.
it's not.
All right. Now my question: if Ahsoka ends with Ezra not coming back, and or he comes back and he dies, that would be sad. But
That'd
let's
be
just say
so
he doesn't
sad.
come back at all. Let's just say he doesn't come back at all, right?
Right.
How would you feel if Ahsoka got a season 2, but it was more of her training Hera's son to become a Jedi and learn the ways of the Force?
Hmm. See, I don't know. See, Jason's an interesting character. His future is still unwritten. That's one of those few characters we don't know his future. Um,
Right.
and so there is a path in time where you can explore that, but it's just like, is that something that fans are going to spend their time watching? Like, are you going to draw on the same audience for Ahsoka season 2, and it's just a large portion of the season is Ahsoka trying to train?
I'm not saying like a large portion. I'm just saying like the basis of that portion is like,
Well, I think it's going to be tough
You know?
because they've kind of set it up as Sabine is Ahsoka's Padawan.
but I don't like Sabine.
See, I don't. I'm still have mixed emotions. I've got to finish the show before
I don't-
I have my complete idea.
I don't think Sabine will be a strong candidate to actually learn the Force or be a Jedi.
She won't. I think we may at some point. Either A, she's going to come into realization with herself that I'm not going to be able to master this, so I'm gonna learn to do this my own way. Or it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be a last minute thing, like say like Ahsoka falls off a cliff, and now Sabine, she lunges over the cliff and she's able to like use the Force and save Ahsoka. It's going to be something where it's either going to be where it's going to come out in a time she needs it, or it's not going to come out at all.
Interesting.
And,
Okay.
Um,
Part 3 of the question.
part 3.
If Jason's his name, right?
Yeah.
If per se Jason was to be taught by somebody, do you have someone in mind that you think should be the teacher or the master per se?
I do.
Okay. Is it not Ahsoka?
It's not Ahsoka.
Who is it? Because, I don't know these characters and I don't know what they're tied to. Is it Captain Rex?
No.
I don't know what Captain Rex does.
Captain
Is
Rex
Captain
is
Rex
just a soldier,
dead?
man. He carries 2 pistols.
Oh, really?
Basically.
That's hilarious.
Captain
That's
Rex
hilarious.
Captain Rex is just like basically like Anakin's the general and Rex is his commander up under him. Like he's the guy that basically tells all the soldiers what to do.
Okay. Well, who do you think it is then? Who do you think would
See,
be a
this
better fit?
this is going to be
And you're gonna say Ezra, aren't you?
it's got to be Ezra. That's the only logical
Okay.
person to
So
me.
if Jason has a future with being a Jedi, Ezra must come back.
That's the case. I feel
Okay.
if Jason is going to train as a Jedi, then Ezra needs to come back.
All right.
And then
That's fair.
because Ezra doesn't have a Padawan, I think Ahsoka will spend her time working with Sabine,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ezra can put his time, his full time and attention into Jason. And I think that that would be a cool lore point because Jason's dad is the one that taught Ezra the way of the Force and trained Ezra how to be a Jedi. So it would be like Kanan wasn't here to teach his son how to be a Jedi and to use the Force, but I'm going to step in and I'm going to teach you how your dad taught me.
All right. I like that.
I think that that would be the best way to do it. So Ezra will step in and train Jason just as Jason's father trained Ezra. That is a satisfactory way for that for me to go for me.
All right.
Um,
I think I'm out of questions.
all right. And
I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it.
oh yeah, this was an incredible episode. I mean, they stepped it up, gave us so much. I don't even necessarily know you can call it fan service because fan service tends to just be a cash grab, but this was stuff that the fans wanted.
I can't say that I line it up with fan service because
Right.
just what I be seeing online, a lot of people don't like Hayden Christensen. I mean,
Right.
I'm just gonna be real
Well,
with
to
you.
me, it's
If
not
if
that.
half the
To
fans if
me,
half the fans like him and half the fans don't, then you
well,
can't really call it
well,
fan service.
I'm not calling Hayden Christensen fan service. I know that a lot of fans have been asking for live action
Oh, like
Clone
the
Wars
Clone
stuff,
Wars.
live
Okay,
action Captain Rex,
all right,
um,
all
and
right.
they basically spent the entire first half of that episode revisiting this stuff, and it made so many fans happy. And
It made
so
me
it's
happy, and I
like
don't
it
even
was
know what the
fan
heck was
service, but
happening.
it wasn't like a cash grab fan service.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I can't really define anything on streaming services as cash grab
Right.
because they're not getting money directly in their pockets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It would have to be like a movie or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, it was things, they did a lot of things that the fans really liked. They
Mm-hmm.
stepped it up on the lightsaber battles. They gave some good things that the fans were
I
hoping for.
yeah, but that was partially Hayden Christensen.
And exactly. Um,
I mean, he
so,
already took like freaking martial arts or whatever just to learn how to
right. And
swing his
oh,
lightsaber
also,
around. So,
super
I mean,
iconic. You've probably seen posts about it, but he did the Anakin lightsaber spin.
no, I didn't see that.
Okay, so I'll send you a clip of it after the
Uh-huh.
podcast. But it's basically though Anakin does this thing where he spins his lightsaber, kind of like spins around with the saber spinning behind his back, and then comes down and kind of does a slash with it. He
Okay.
did it in Revenge of the Sith on Obi-Wan. He did it in the Kenobi series on Obi-Wan. He did it in Ahsoka on Ahsoka. And I think he also may have done it in Clone Wars. Cannot remember, cannot confirm or deny. Um, and so it's just this iconic. It's like his iconic move, kind of like how
Okay.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right.
His iconic move is he's pointing forward, and then he has his lightsaber kind of going forward as well in his other hand. It's like a lightsaber stance. And Anakin, he's got his little spin he
Okay.
does.
All right. Another quick thing. In episode 1, the Phantom Menace, in the very beginning, when they were on the ship they were there to like make a deal or whatever, tell them,
Yeah.
right? And then they started getting fought at or like shot at or whatever.
Yeah.
And then those little roller droid thingies came up, right?
Destroyers. Yeah.
Destroyers. They couldn't fight them, right?
Right.
So they did like this force dash.
Yeah. That is actually
Is that the
something
only
very
time
fun.
we see that?
It's the only time you see it. It is the only time it is used in Star Wars at all, and fans
Why?
have wondered where the heck did the Force Dash go.
Why?
I do not know. It is just something I think they did, and then they're just like, we don't really like how this looks, so we're not really going to use it anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the only
I thought
time
it
it's
looked
used
cool.
at all.
Now, if it was overused, I'd be like, all right, that's stupid. But
Right.
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Ahsoka Episode 5, really good, set some things up. And I was also happy because if you remember from my last theory I had with you, don't know if I said it in the Ahsoka Episode 4 mini pod or if it was something I said to you directly forever, but I said that I want them to figure out their own way to get to the other
Yeah.
planet and to not use time travel to get the map or
Right.
the coordinates. That I
Right.
hope that they would figure out some other way to get there.
Yes.
And they delivered and they got
Using
their
the
own
space wells, wells or whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called. Brilliant.
Purgles.
I thought that was fantastic. Purgles?
Yeah, Purgles.
Okay. I
So
thought that was
using the
fantastic.
space whales, I think or the Purgles, was incredible because you didn't see them abuse that idea of the time travel concept. You got
Yeah,
to
time
see,
travel is just like so cliche nowadays,
right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Um,
part of the reason why Endgame really doesn't hold up as well as it should.
right. And so I was glad they figured out their own way, and they did a really good job designing the Purgles. They kind of kept them accurate, except for a main thing they changed is actually like the Purgles and Rebels kind of got like these like big like molars looking teeth across their mouth. They got like molars across their whole mouth, but in this they actually got like
it is
actual whale
kind of like
teeth.
just shark. It looks like just shark teeth.
Yeah, in the movie in the animated series they look like molars. In Ahsoka they have authentic whale teeth. Like that is what a whale's mouth looks like when it opens up. It's all these bristles, and behind the bristles are teeth.
Okay. All right. To close out the episode, because we're at like an hour and 10 minutes.
Hour and 15, about to be 16.
That's crazy. This is our longest podcast yet.
It is, and that's not because I'm rushing you. I'm kind of enjoying the thing because we kind of got into this thing where it's just like I'm not gonna hold us to that hour and 5 minutes anymore. If we want to talk, we can.
Yes,
talk.
sir. Yes, sir. Do you have any theories going forward? And the guy that killed Ahsoka or almost killed Ahsoka, I forgot his name.
Skull.
Balin Skull.
Yeah.
Who do you think he was trained under? Do you have like a prediction? Because I doubt they'll actually say, but he's pretty old. Right.
I have a theory. I can't confirm or deny, but it's going to be the most basic stereotype theory. And that's going to be, unless there's just some unknown Jedi that hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Master Yoda because Master Yoda is the one that trained most of the high up Jedi inside of the Order.
Okay.
He trained
And
most
he
of
was
them.
he was the same as Anakin, to where he started as a Jedi, and he went to the dark side.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Not a bad guess.
The thing is a cool thing about Balin Skull is he's not dark side. He's in the middle ground. He's what you would kind of refer to.
It's like that gray area.
A gray Jedi. He still has a strong connection to the Fourth. He's given into some dark side habits, but he has sympathy to Force users. And the only reason I think the main reason he's set against Ahsoka and Sabine in this show is because Morgan paid him and put him up to this. I think if he hadn't received money for this, I think he would have turned a while ago.
See, I was seeing somebody and they were talking about it, and they said that when he had made the deal with Sabine to hand over the key or whatever,
yeah,
he would spare her life and she would be able to make the journey with them.
Right.
And then the annoying
Apprentice.
butt girl, she almost killed her, and he said, "No, let her go. I made a promise."
Yeah.
And somebody said that they liked that he is a man of his word because every other Sith would have instantly killed her.
Oh yeah, every other Sith would have either instantly killed her, or B, he would have made that comment of like, "Oh, I said I wouldn't kill you, but she can."
Yeah,
Um, but he was a man of his word and
because
kept it.
because Sabine is not a Jedi and she's not even trained in the ways of the Force. So it's not like because at the beginning of the show he was like, "That's so sad because there's not a lot of people who actually know the Force
Right.
or Jedi's." So he's more sympathetic towards you know Jedi's and people who use the
Right.
Force. But I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty like he didn't even Sabine who doesn't know anything.
Right. And it's crazy because like his apprentice actually
So it
leans
really
more
just
to the
makes
dark
me
side than
think
him.
that even like there's something at stake more than just money or whatever. I think Morgan's got like his family captive or something like
Dang.
crap like that.
See, that's
You know
gonna
what
be
I'm
kind of
saying?
wild because like the
Like
Jedi they weren't
something
allowed to have
that
families.
like oh really?
Yeah, that's one of the main things.
Oh,
They
I
can't
didn't
have
know that.
attachments.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's one of the main things that
Even
corrupted.
Jedi's?
Yeah, the Jedi's weren't allowed to like have love.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's
and
why
that's
that's why Anakin
why
turned to the dark side.
that's why Anakin turned is because he fell in love with a girl, and instead of just
Dang.
sticking with the Order, he started branching away from the Order, and in the end, she was the final straw that Palpatine ended up using to pull him to the dark side.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
his feelings ended up pulling him away.
Hmm.
But Jedi, they're
Hmm.
allowed to have love and compassion and empathy for people in the galaxy, but they can't form attachments. Like I can't like become emotionally attached to this because now the enemy is going to use this to get to me.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's just
So there
one.
goes my theory.
Yeah. Um,
I do think there's like some kind of external factor here, though.
yeah. I,
I don't.
I
I don't know.
think okay. I think that it started out with money, and now I think he's excited to kind of go along for the ride. He kind of teased at that thing. I'm doing this. One of the main reasons he's doing this is because he sees the outcomes from it. He knows if Thrawn returns to power, then he gets more authority and power and stuff in the future.
Oh,
And
so he's promised authority if Thrawn
he's kind.
returns.
So basically, he stays with Morgan, and there's a better future for him, essentially.
Okay.
Instead of one of those things where he's viewed as this criminal that the Light, the Republic, and the remaining Jedi would arrest him or possibly try and kill him. With this, he gets some form of power or authority in the galaxy.
Okay.
But now you're starting
Anyway,
to see that kind of.
any theories on your end?
Um, I'm
Because you're
wondering if
like
there's
two for
going
two
to
right
be.
now.
What's that?
I said you're like 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of hitting him on the head. The one theory I kind of got. Well, I didn't say it was. I didn't necessarily make this a theory, but I thought it would be cool if it happened. But if that Merrick guy was actually like Ezra or someone, I said that would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was actually other people's online
Right,
theories. We were kind of just touching base on it and actually like talking about it, but
right,
clearly not because she sliced the man in half.
yeah. Um, and so yeah,
Was that
my
was
theories.
that an actual guy or is that like an android? Because
Um,
didn't he like disintegrate like right after?
yeah, he turned it. He's basically like a mist. He turned into just fog and floated into the sky. Um,
Weird. He had a
which
freaking cool lightsaber too.
Yeah, that's an Inquisitor lightsaber. You see it a lot in Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Inquisitors were basically Jedi that turned to the dark side and served under Vader as Jedi hunters.
Mm,
So basically, I was a Jedi, but I'm going to swear my allegiance to Darth Vader and hunt down other Jedi.
Anakin really turned into a monster, didn't he?
Yeah. Um,
That's
oh,
crazy.
and so yeah, and so yeah. If I was gonna have a theory, at the end of the show, there's going to be a sacrifice. There is going to either A, be a sacrifice, or there's going to be some like big conflict thing. And I feel like Balin Skrull is going to lose his life by the end of the show.
That would be so sad.
I think he is going to have a pull to the light and he is going to die in the process. Like maybe making like a final stand, like Ahsoka needs to go try and stop Thrawn before they can like take his ship off, and he's gonna like stay behind to try and buy some time. Or
Interesting.
I think it's going to be something like this where he's gonna have a pull to the light and he's going to die for it.
Interesting.
Um, Either that or he starts.
How do you think
Either that
Hera
or he's
and-
going to start pulling to the light, and then Morgan's going to kill his apprentice to teach him a lesson.
Thanks. But she could die. I don't like her.
All these characters you were kind of attached to in episode 1 and 2, now you're just like,
No, I never really liked that girl. The girl that stabbed Sabine?
Yeah.
No, she's mid. It's
I
okay.
made the joke in the first episode that like we were joking that you were about to say like she was hot or something.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. But as a character, she's terrible. She's
creepy.
mid is an appearance, but like as a character, she's just so terrible.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about terrible line delivery and being stiff, that's what we need to talk about.
Right.
It's not on Hayden's part.
It's so weird because like on Twitter they got like the like daily like Star Wars character of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And like since Ahsoka came out, she's had like character of the day like 3 or 4 times.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Hera's more attractive than that.
Dang.
Nonsense. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Ahsoka is too. I don't know. The orange is nice to me. Like I don't know why.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not saying I'm like sexually attracted to him. I'm just saying
Yes,
it's
like,
nice.
Ooh, Ahsoka.
Cool. This is like the factuation with like aliens. Like if aliens were real and they came down, they were actually green. It'd be like a whole Gamora situation with
Bruh.
Star-Lord. Like I'm telling you, man.
Bruh.
Like I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Um,
Gamora shows up right now at your doorstep. You don't mean to tell me you're not pulling a
If she-
Star-Lord and you're gonna
if she shows up
You're
on
gonna
my
be a
doorstep
relationship
right
with
now,
her?
she's probably trying to kill me or something.
Speaking of, I did watch Guardians 3.
Okay, how'd you think of it? I saw your
Alright.
review in the Discord.
Yeah. 8 out of 10.
8 out of
All
10?
right. Everything referring to Rocket's origin,
Yeah.
peak. I mean, that was just perfection.
Yeah.
I like that the movie wasn't necessarily action based as far as like, and it had to be a fight like every second.
Yeah.
You know, it was more of a rescue mission, like they were trying to save his life.
Yeah.
But I have 2 really points that I hated in the movie, and that's why it's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Number 1, Gamora.
Yeah.
Pre-Guardians of the Galaxy Gamora is so annoying.
Yeah.
It's a terrible character. She's a terrible person. Pre-Guardians, and this is like part of the reason why I'm not big on Guardians 1 either, because it's that pre-Guardians era before they actually formed and became a family.
Yeah.
All right? Guardians 2 is just a bad movie, period. Like, the entire storyline of Guardians 2 is just so bad.
Yeah.
So that's the point, all right? And point number 2 is Adam Warlock is a complete joke.
Yeah.
In the comics, he's one of the most powerful beings, and this
Right.
man is
And they
a...
tried justifying him being a
absolute
joke for
joke.
the fact that they pulled him out early. That's what their justification
Yes.
was.
Yes.
That's such
so
a lame
stupid.
excuse.
So stupid, bro.
Hmm.
So dumb.
Yeah. But anyway, to put us back on
And it's more... Oh, no,
Yeah,
we're still going to Ahsoka?
yeah, we were trying to like wrap up and do our whole conclusion thing, but then now we kind of just
Oh
morphed
yeah,
into
we're
talking about
concluded.
Guardians.
We're talking about Guardians right now.
Yeah.
Um,
uh,
so so it's more so like Adam Warlock for me,
yeah.
because I can excuse Gamora because like she's supposed to be like that, you know.
Yeah.
But like Adam Warlock was probably like okay. Two really good points of why, like two specific moments that I really loved in the film.
Yeah.
Number one was when Rocket was like in the afterlife,
Yeah.
and Leah was like, "It's been your story all along. You just didn't know it."
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's
The
actually
entire
a
conclusion
big
of
a
the
big
Guardians trilogy is the climax of Rocket's life.
yeah. That's a big theory that I
So
heard that
I
like
thought that was
Rocket
really
was kind
cool.
of like the secret main character.
Yes, I thought that was really cool because Rocket's been my favorite character the entire time.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but something that I would have loved for them to do, um, in that sequence. So instead of Leah pushing him down and him like basically just his soul falling back to the earth and into his body,
Yeah.
that's fine. But I wanted it to be
His
kind of like
choice.
Ahsoka. I wanted it to be his choice.
Yeah.
And to have it his choice, I wanted it to go like this. So basically, she just told him that, like, it's been his story this entire time. Like, he's not necessarily done, he still has a purpose. And then he turns around, and at the end of this long white hallway, it's a faded picture of Star Lord screaming when he flatlined.
Yeah.
Because that moment is so important because it'll take him back to him screaming over Leah dying and all of his friends dying.
Yeah.
That we saw at the beginning of the film. I thought that would have been a really nice way to connect the two sequences.
Yeah.
And to actually have Rocket feel like he has somebody there that cares and deeply about whether he lives or dies in that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would have loved for that to happen.
Yeah.
And then number two is when Groot at the end said, "I love you guys."
Mm-hmm.
And James Gunn had tweeted and said that it was because we became a part of the Guardians family at the end of the trilogy, and we can now understand what Groot says.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, the film was just enjoyable.
Yeah.
Obviously, the comedy was like hit or miss.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of the times where the comedy just missed. It was something else that I was going to say. What was I going to say?
About to become a 2-hour podcast, and in part one's Ahsoka, part two's Guardians.
If you want to split them up, you can. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to. If I want to, I'm gonna have to somehow figure out how to splice the footage into.
What was I going to say, dude?
Maybe slap a little like Guardians cameo in like the background of the thumbnail.
Yeah, probably.
And make a disclaimer like contains some Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 content.
Contains some excessive rambling.
Excessive rambling. Also Guardians review.
Some other things that I thought was cool. So like at the end of the fight, and they were like calling on Yondu's son for help.
Yeah.
And he showed up in that whole skeleton skull ship.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so dope, right?
Yeah.
The entire city was in it.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Bro, what?
Their entire city was in that ship.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't realize that?
No.
Bro, that's literally like that information was provided in like Guardians 1. We
Really?
knew there was a massive city inside of that giant skull. It was revisited.
Really?
And
see, like I'm shaky on most of the Guardians because I don't like it.
Bruh.
I don't like it as much as everyone else.
Bruh.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. All right. I don't love. I still do not love Star-Lord,
Yeah.
but I no longer hate him
Yeah.
because he finally took responsibility in the elevator sequence when he was like rambling about like Gamora being past Gamora.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then I couldn't hold my crap together and half the universe died because of it.
Yeah.
He finally took accountability for his actions. Even though I still do not like that
Don't
sequence.
you think that this is like his first? Isn't this the first Guardians movie since Endgame though?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how could he not?
But he still should.
How could he
You don't think he should have popped up in Endgame after everyone was brought back and he would have been like, my bad,
bro,
guys.
at
Like,
the
this is on me.
in Endgame, his entire screen time after Endgame was only like what, that last battle sequence, and so like stop the whole battle, just say,
Yes.
guys, I'm sorry.
No. Exactly. Yes. Because he's supposed to be comedic relief. So imagine in the middle of the fight, he's just like, look, guys, I'm sorry. This entire fight right now is on me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I couldn't hold my crap together. And then like he just get like beelined with like some kind of alien. You don't think that would have been funny?
No, I think it would it'd be like they would have had to they'd have to like work really hard on how to like wiggle that in, but like seeing like our current view of Endgame and what it was, I think it would kind of just throw off the mood a little bit.
I don't think so.
Very interesting.
I don't think so. I'm just saying, like he could have done some type of an apology, even if it was an after fight, even after they had beat Thanos and everything. He could have been like,
so
"Oh,
weird
bad."
because it just feels weird that like for the middle of a fight, like that just like mid fight there would be like this moment where it would just be like, where like everyone's like so focused on the fight trying to save the day, then suddenly like Star-Lord's focus goes from, instead of focusing on the battle and saving the day, suddenly his mind goes back. He's just like, oh yeah, this is all my fault. Gosh, it just feels weird for it to like his brain just sidetrack from the moment to.
Okay,
that.
what if they just like as soon as the circle came in and it was just like the Guardians walk out and he's seeing all of this, and then Rocket goes, "This is all on you."
See, and it's tough because I don't think that would happen because at the end of the fight,
or Rocket goes, "Wow, you really screwed up."
Like no, but the thing is though is the fight concludes with the Iron Man snap, and everything gets focused from war to now everyone's emotional over Iron Man, and then as soon as that sequence ends, it goes straight to the theater.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like as soon as the portals open, where Hulk snapped and brought everyone back. Some kind of acknowledgement that he was at fault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm saying like it should have happened in Endgame versus Guardians 3.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying because you didn't like what happened.
No, I didn't.
But me, I feel like it's a lot better.
Cool.
I feel like it's a lot better to, instead of try and sidetrack the last 30 minutes of a movie and let him just make one statement that'll take up like 1 minute of screen time. I figured that like having his moment in his basically his franchise movie,
he still could have had that exact line. The same thing. It could have happened twice. Instead of like, because he acknowledged it in Guardians 3, right?
Right.
He could have came out in Endgame and somebody looked at him and said, "You're to blame. Like you screwed up. Like this is your fault." Like it could have been Rocket or something. I'm just saying, like it should have happened in Endgame.
Agree to disagree, I guess, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah, but anyway, this podcast is going on for 1 hour and 37 minutes. Holy cow!
All right, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I already know
we'll get 2 episodes this week because we're doing this random Guardian
preview. The thing is, though, I have no idea how to split this, so I don't know if I'm just gonna like leave it as a really long.
Upload the entire 2-hour podcast.
I mean, I may.
Okay, another point it wasn't as like it wasn't anything important for me to like notch down any points below an 8 out of 10 because I really just took out 2 points because Adam Warlock was a joke.
Yeah.
Um, the higher power or whatever his name was,
Yeah.
I think it was the higher power, right?
The high evolutionary.
High evolutionary, right?
Yeah.
Um, he all movie, even in the comics, all movie, he's supposed to be this powerful being, right?
Yeah.
He's literally creating races and
Yeah.
evolutionary type thing, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be this powerful being. The Guardians take him down in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at like him being taken down. All right. Here's the thing. If he was gonna get taken down, I wanted to be a 1v1 with Rocket versus him. If Rocket would have just soloed him and just like completely just took him out, not like killed him, but like won. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would have found that more satisfying.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
But, I do realize that it was towards the end of the film and they were pushing 2 hours already. And they were like, well, this movie wasn't really a fight and it wasn't really a climax with a villain. It was really just a rescue mission.
Yeah.
So they just needed to have like this little final bow on the high evolutionary before kind of closing the books.
Yeah.
But they technically did leave him to die.
Yeah.
He did die.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if you would have just killed him right there instead of like looking him in his eyes and like, nah, because I'm a guardian, you actually would have done him justice if you would have just killed him. Because that man just like floated out into space or exploded with his ship. Like that man is dead.
But that's kind of tough because like you sit there and it's just like, it's kind of like, have you seen the trolley question?
No.
The trolley question basically is you're sitting here by this lever. This trolley car is rolling forward and it's going to kill 5 people that are tied to the track. Do you let the trolley run forward and kill 5 people, or do you flip the lever and let it go down a second track, but it runs over a baby?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
you're basically
also,
just choosing the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, and so there was one that I actually watched today. There was a video I watched today, and one of the problems was, do you you can control the trolley, and you see this sick dog. It's near unto death. It looks like it's going to it looks like it doesn't got much time left in it. Do you leave the dog there to die, or do you flip the lever and let the dog get run over by the train? First thing that comes to mind is you're like, oh, the dog's suffering, I would want to put it down. But at the end of the day, what if the dog's owner was there? What if the dog's owner, you look at the owner square in the face, he's like, yeah, I saw your dog, I saw it was about to die, and so I figured I'd just put it out of its misery, and I ran it over with my train.
Okay.
And so
I
feel like
see what
it's
you're
one of
saying.
those.
So I see what you're saying. Like, he was dead either way, but at least it's not on their conscience that they killed him.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can live with that.
Yeah. Now back to the trolley question: do you run over the baby or do you run over the 5
I'm
people?
not answering that question. I'm not answering that question. I'm not gonna answer.
It's an entire game, and you just get asked questions like that all the time.
I'm not gonna answer. I just answer that question.
And it's just like,
all right. Do I know the baby is on the other side of the lever?
Yes.
Because if I'm looking at a lever and I'm only seeing 5 people and I can't see track 2.
Well, you see track 2. You can see both tracks in front of you. You see if it goes straight, it's going to run over 5 people. If you pull the lever, you see it's going to run over a baby. What do you do?
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth.
I don't know how to answer that question.
We need to do a stream one day where we play that game and we have to answer moral
Because,
questions.
like, there's so many different variables, right?
Right.
So, like,
See, like one of the easier ones that people make
so
the decision
let's
on.
just say I choose to push the lever and the trolley runs over the baby.
Right.
The baby's going to heaven.
Right.
That's biblically correct, right?
Biblically correct. Yeah.
Let's just say then those 5 grown adults walk up and they're free. They're alive.
Right.
What if 4 of them are saved? The other one is a serial killer and he goes to kill 6 other people.
Yeah. That's.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I've seen questions like there's actually questions like that like.
They're tied to the tracks for a reason, I would assume.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
No good conscious person is gonna tie somebody to a track
Unless it's just a villain that just ties them to the track just to.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many different variables to
right. The one of the ones that people do a lot is like there's an old lady on one track and there's a baby on the other track. Which one do you run over?
Mm-hmm. How old is this lady? Is she like 50?
Like 85.
Or she's like 85?
Yeah.
So she could drop dead of a heart attack tomorrow either way.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm probably letting the old lady get run over.
We'll have to do a stream where we play.
So also the thing is you see 2 options, right?
Right.
So if you're like, all right, I'm just gonna let it play out, whatever happens, that's not on your conscience. But if you pull that lever, then it becomes your decision.
But yeah, but then it's also on your conscience of
like,
not only is it on your conscience like, oh, I didn't touch the lever, so what happens, but now it's on your conscience that, oh, I could have pulled that lever and like saved X amount more people or saved the baby's life or whatever, but I chose not to.
But it's a baby.
We're gonna have to play the trolley game one day.
Anyway, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah. All right, going back to Guardians. Do you think there's going to be like a new Guardians movie or a Guardians Disney Plus show with like a rocket-led Guardians?
Possibly. I see the Disney Plus show more often than another movie.
I feel like that should be that. I feel like that would work well with that team.
Yeah.
But I will say this: I don't like the fact that they dismantled.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't agree.
They even teased at the end of it that Star-Lord will return. So it's not saying that like, the Guardians are going to return.
Star-Lord's gonna It's just Star-Lord.
So like
probably
R.
in the next Avengers
R.I.P.
project.
Mantis, R.I.P. Rocket, R.I.P. Groose.
Yeah.
But Star-Lord's going to get a shot at a big screen again.
I wanna point out this point, right? Like, you went through all of that trouble to save Rocket's life. Your best friend.
I ain't like deuces, bro.
This guy, like this team is your family, right? And then you're just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if it was like, all right, guys, like, you know, let's go down to Earth. I really need to see if my grandpa's still alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't leave your don't leave 5 people for your grandpa.
Trolley car.
Who you didn't even that you didn't even know was alive.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like he literally gave up his chosen family for the dickwad grandpa.
But it comes out that he wasn't.
I mean, sure, maybe now after he's lost everyone for 20 years and then his 40-year-old grandson pops up out of nowhere.
If you actually go back and watch Guardians 1, you see he wasn't trying to be a jerk. He was just trying to get the kid out of the room because no kid should have to sit there and watch his mom suffer like that, especially that young.
Sure, but like.
But for the rest of his life, he viewed his grandpa as this like evil person.
Let's be real for a second, right? It's a traumatic situation either way.
Right.
And if he's gonna have to deal with a traumatic sequence, at least he should be there with his mom.
So it's just like option A. you sit there and you watch your mom as they're trying to like resurrect her essentially, like try and
Yes.
I mean reanimate. That's what it is. They're trying to reanimate her. They're bringing out the what's the word, the EBT or whatever to try and
Mm-hmm.
bring her back, and you see the flatlining. So it's either A, you're gonna sit there and panic because you see this happen to your mom, or B, your grandpa's gonna pick you up and sit you outside of the room so you don't have to see that. But you spend the
Okay.
next 20 years hating your grandpa.
Okay. Here's the question. Here's the thing though. The grandpa could have picked up picked up the kid, Peter,
Mhm.
embraced him in a direction that was where he was like on his shoulder looking at the wall instead of his mom.
Yeah,
He's not actually viewing his mother dying,
yeah,
but at least Peter knows that his grandpa loves him and is embracing him in like the hardest situation of his life.
all right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's also
I
kind of
just
tough
feel
because
like
how do you like embrace a kid like
picking
that?
him
Because
up,
also, if you remember, he's
picking
sitting
him
there like
up and
screaming mom, right? He's sitting there like screaming mom.
yeah, but picking him up and forcibly making him leave in the last moment of his mother's life, that feels kind of traumatic.
So you
It's
think that
traumatic
merits
either
you
way.
think that merits him being a terrible grandpa?
No, I'm not saying he's a terrible grandpa. I'm just saying, like, you know, I just don't think that. I don't know. Unfortunately, he just had to get abducted like 30 seconds later. I mean,
But like
it doesn't really help
you
with the
see that like
situation.
at the
But
end of Guardians 3, you see that he goes and sees his grandpa and then his grandpa embraces him. You have that loving moment and you
mhm,
see like the pictures
yeah,
on the wall letting you know that like grandpa loved me, grandpa missed me, grandpa probably even tried to find me, I think.
100%. Sure. I'm just
Ugh.
saying, like, if it's gonna, it's a
Imagine waking
traumatic
up to that one
situation
day.
either way.
Imagine spending the 20 years of your life thinking your grandpa hated you only for you to come back to him and find out that like, oh, it was just a misinterpretation. He's loved me, missed me, and tried to find a way to get in touch with me for 20 years. Like, imagine that realization hitting you one
Yeah,
day.
right. I'm just saying, like, I still feel like he should have just stayed with the Guardians, but came with them.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
imagine that conversation. Like, hey pops, hey grandpops, this is what my life has been for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Turns out my dad is an alien,
Well,
and
you
he
know what's
abducted
also
me.
crazy? You know what's also going to be crazy? Um, if the grandpa didn't go out in the blip, he would have seen like newspapers and news articles after the events of Endgame where someone somehow got some like found footage or some photo of the heroes that were fighting that day. And like, what if
Ooh,
the grandpa saw one photo of Star Lord?
interesting. Begs the question too: if he was blipped, that's probably why he's alive.
That is probably the case.
Because if he wasn't, he probably like 5 years extra on his life. He'd probably be dead.
Yeah. Um.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, but I
Interesting.
would give Guardians 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's an 8 out of 10. It's by far the best of the trilogy.
Oh yeah.
Guardians 2 is like a 2 out of 10. Guardians 1's like a
2 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Gosh.
The second Guardians movie is probably one of the worst MCU projects.
Ah, I dropped my phone. I mean, I dropped my mic. Um, but this would be my rating. I rate the first movie at a 7. I rate the second movie at a 5. I rate the third movie at an 8.
Hmm.
The second movie was just
I
mid.
just, I don't know. I also have a lot of issues with Drax.
Yeah.
Drax is the comedic relief. He's dumb. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
It like Drax the Destroyer is literally his name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gamora's annoying. Pre-Gamora, like pre-Guardians of Gamora, of course. Mantis is weird, although I like her.
Yeah.
Rocket and Groot are literally the best characters in Guardians. Probably top characters in the entire MCU.
Dang.
Peter's been through a lot, so I'm not gonna, you know,
Yeah, you kind of have a
fault
little
his
bias against him.
fault his behavior, but you know,
Me,
who
like the
else is
one guy
left?
that still stood by Peter and Star Lord's side after Endgame, while everyone else is hating on this man.
I did not like him. Did not like him. Love Chris Pratt, dope dude, but
It's
no,
just like, so wait,
Star
let me
Lord is
guess
not
this.
it, man.
That's why you hate Sabine now, isn't it?
Yes,
You cannot,
I don't.
you can't
I don't
forgive
like Sabine.
people. People have one bad moment in their lives, and you're just like, yes, that dictates how I feel about them.
Okay. All right. Listen, I'm gonna explain both reasons. Right.
Right,
Star Lord not keeping his cool resulted in the death of trillions of people.
right.
Although they came back, then it resulted in the death of Black Widow and Iron Man.
Right.
All right.
But you also look at like even like Sabine's
Oh,
decision. Sabine,
hold on.
if
Let me get to Sabine. Right? Let me get this. Sabine is a question of loyalty.
right,
Loyalty means everything.
right,
And if you cannot be loyal, I don't like you. Doesn't matter what show you're in, doesn't matter what character you are.
yeah,
If the one person that took you in and has loved you and has literally tried to do everything right by you, and you do not reciprocate loyalty in one of the decisions that she told you, I don't like you. She specifically said it's too dangerous if they get their hands on it and we cannot follow them, destroy it.
yeah. Um,
Just saying.
and
It's a
like
question of
to me, like
loyalty
it's
in
not.
her
It
in
to
hers.
me, it's like not
Now
really a question of
you could
loyalty. It's a
argue
question
that
of like love.
Sabine.
Like for me, like I see Sabine.
What?
Her big decision was because she was scared she wouldn't see Ezra again, so that's why she did what she did.
No, 3 days ago or however time elapsed of the show, she didn't even know Ezra could have been alive.
Look, then
Ahsoka came
you're
to her and said, "This is a possibility.
right.
Don't get your hopes up because could be dead. He still probably is dead."
Dang, so you're kind of like misreading this a little bit because the way the lore has set it up is you notice in the first couple episodes, she's still head over heels over Ezra. Then she hears the hope that, oh my gosh, my lover may still be alive. Let me go on this adventure to try and find him and save him.
According to you, they weren't lovers. She rejected him.
Right, but now she's like,
That's
she's hopeless romantic
that's
now.
guilt. That's guilt.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
That's
thing
not
is,
true
though,
love.
is
That's
we
guilt.
started. The thing is, though, is at the end of Star Wars Rebels, we started seeing her like start to lean into him more. She hadn't come out and like said "I love you," but you see that she started catching feelings a little bit in the final season.
Just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Ahsoka specifically told her that this is a possibility, but it is possible that he's still dead. Don't get your hopes up.
So look, if you had someone,
All I'm saying.
if you
All I'm
had
saying.
someone that you
All I'm
loved with
saying.
all of your heart, and
Oh,
there was only one way you could see
listen.
them,
Hold on. All right. I'm gonna get there. Okay. I've never been in love. All right. Probably not in the cards for me for a while. All right.
dang,
But listen. Listen. All right.
dang,
Listen to me. Listen to me.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
In the moment she gave the key to what's his face? I forgot it again.
Bellum Skull.
Valen Skull. He pre-assumed that Ahsoka was dead.
Right.
So instead of I just don't instead of in her last wish of Ahsoka being dead and the command that she had given her to destroy the key if necessary. If everything else fails, destroy the key. Do you not think that rock bottom is Ahsoka being dead? So if she's pre-assuming that Ahsoka is dead, fallen off the cliff and into the water, she is gone, she is donezo, honoring her last wish and destroying that key is not a sign of loyalty. In that moment, she cared more about herself and her feelings about seeing a possible partner that she presumed was dead for years.
I don't think she gave up the fact that he was dead. I thought figured he was still out there.
You didn't think that Sabine didn't think that Ahsoka was dead.
I figured she thought Ahsoka was dead, but Ezra, I figured she still thinks he's out there.
That's absurd.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched the
look
clip
at
you sent me,
Finding
bro.
Nemo. Marlin thought Nemo was alive, even though he got carried to the other
Listen.
side of the ocean. But everyone's fine with Finding Nemo.
Are you trying to are you trying to grasp what I'm putting down though?
I am grasping what you're putting down.
She presumed that Ahsoka was dead.
Right.
Let's just say she pre-assumed that both parties were dead.
Right.
She had more hope giving the key to this evil man.
If she
To
knew,
get on a ship
if
with
she
an
knew
evil
Ahsoka and Ezra was dead, was dead, I think she blows the map up. But because she felt Ezra was still out there and she had a chance to see him, I think she went with the chance to see him over the chance to risk it all.
So you're telling me, instead of destroying the key,
right,
and having any hope of seeing Ahsoka again and finding Ahsoka.
Note that she's still not completely attached to Ahsoka.
She left Ahsoka. She completely left Ahsoka. Alive or dead. She left a dead woman, her friend, because she wanted to find this rare possibility that even if she, you don't mean to tell me in that given moment when she handed the key over that she didn't think he was going to kill her anyway?
I think the thought crossed her mind.
And she did it anyway.
But I think she's just blind. I think she's pulling an Anakin and she's just blinded by emotion.
Imagine if she would have handed the key over and he killed her.
That would have hit hard.
Imagine.
But this would be a lot different argument, though. This would be a lot different argument.
My argument is a sign of loyalty. That you're not only your friend, but your so-called master. All right?
Right.
You think she's dead, and one of the last things she told you was destroy that key if everything else fails.
Right.
Everything else failed, and you don't destroy the key.
Right. I tell you, I think it's I see the point you're trying to make, but I still think it's a thing of emotion.
Everything else may work out in the end. Ezra may be alive. Ahsoka may find them and fight and take down Thrawn, and Basil Skull, whatever his name is, might come around to his senses. Who knows? Everything may work out in the end because that's plot armor. But I'm just saying, realistically, she should have been dead as soon as she handed that key over.
Yeah. But no.
So she was willing to give up her life for a small chance instead of destroying the key and dying anyway. If her outcome was death both ways, she should have destroyed the key.
Well,
realistically,
I still think she was so blinded. I think she was still blinded by the moment and the emotions that I think that maybe the thought crossed her mind that he can kill her.
Right.
But because he made the promise and said, I will take you to go see Ezra, essentially, because she felt that there was some slim chance, she took it.
What Sith is a man of his word? Thankfully, this one was, plot armor. But I'm just saying, like, realistically, let's just say Ahsoka was in that position. All right?
Mm-hmm.
She had the chance to hand over the key and go on this journey with him. Or
Oh, Ahsoka blows it up because she's got no one she's attached to.
you don't think she's attached to Ezra?
No, nowhere near as much as Sabine. You can see it
That's
evident by
because
the way she
Sabine
carries
is
herself.
Sabine's guilt. She's guilt tripped from rejecting him and him dying.
Bruh.
I'm just saying.
I
I'm just saying.
mean,
I'm saying any sound person and who is strong of mind would have looked at both outcomes and figured the possibility of death for both outcomes were near 100%. Any person would have destroyed that key.
I see what you're saying. It's like you said, you've never felt love before. You don't know what it does to a person.
Okay, let's have that conversation, right?
Right.
Let's just say I do find the love of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid she's kidnapped or whatever. And for 5 years, I haven't had her in my life. The cops tell me she's probably dead. You should move on.
Right.
All right?
Right.
Let's just say this drug guy, this mafia man, is like, yeah, man, she's alive. And I know where she is. She's been held captive, whatever. All you gotta do is kill a guy for me. And I'll take you to her. And y'all can live happily ever after. You would be out of your mind if you killed the guy to go see the person you love.
Mm-hmm.
Same situation. Because I can guarantee you, staring down that mafia man, my outcome is death. Either way. If I say, yeah, I'll do this, or no. I could go kill the man, and the mafia man is like, all right, loose ends, you're dead. Bang.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that. And he's like, all right, you know who I am. You can tell the cops, bang, you're dead. Feel me?
I see what you're saying, but I think that based off the story and the narrative, they're not basing it off logic or reason. They're basing it off emotion.
And that's fine.
And
That's
I
fine.
think that's also the
But
main narrative they're trying to change because that's the same thing that messed up Anakin.
According to you, they were never romantically involved. Were they?
They were not.
Okay. If they were romantically involved and they were in love, they were married for like the last 2 or 3 seasons, I'd completely understand this decision. But they were never romantically involved and they were never even in a relationship. In fact, she rejected him. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. I still don't agree with it. I'll just have to see how the rest of the season goes and when they get to her.
Of course, everything's gonna work out because it's plot armor and it has to.
I know it's plot armor.
But I'm just saying, like, that's why I don't like her. She made an irrational decision, and she was unloyal.
Whether it's loyalty or love, that's the one thing we agree on. Whether it was loyalty or love, she made a rash decision.
So you don't think she loves Ahsoka?
I think there's still mixed emotions between her and Ahsoka because she still hasn't gained that full respect for her again because she still sees her as the girl that was always hard on her.
Tough love isn't a part of love, is it not?
It is, but you're more apt to try and go to the person that you like drastically miss.
You rejected?
It's just like
you're more inclined to go to the person you rejected.
I mean, we'll see.
I'm just saying, if she was romantically involved with him, I would understand. But but they weren't.
Bruh. But they're
That's
giving
what I'm
us the
saying.
cues. They gave us the cues. And you're
Cues of
still
what?
just
That
like,
he's still alive?
Don't ignore. No, that for some reason that she has some attachment to Ezra. They've given us the cues.
Listen. Let's kind of just like level the playing field in more of a realistic, real life situation.
But
All
this
right?
isn't going to be a realistic
Hold on.
situation. It's a very irrational
Hold on.
situation.
I'm gonna boil it down to like the bare minimum, right?
Okay.
You are single,
Okay.
all right? Let's just say this girl comes up to you. It's just like, look, I think you're cute. Let's go out on a date. Let's try this. And you tell her, no, I'm good. Thank you, though. I'm good. Because you're a respectful dude and you're going to let her down easy, right?
Right.
She finds someone else. She becomes happy and she's in love. And then you're like, dang, I'm in love with this chick. Same situation. Unattainable.
I don't get the connection, but all right.
What do you mean?
You said she found the girl. Okay, so you turn the girl down. She goes, finds someone else, lives a happy life, and now, now I love her.
Right. Right. Transferred to Sabine and Ezra. Ezra's like, hey, I like you. Let's try this. And she's like, no, I don't want you. And then now that he's unattainable and presumed dead, she's like, oh, now I'm in love with this guy. Now I want him.
I see what you're saying, but I still like the hopeless romantic route more. I still think it's a battle.
I see. Look,
I think it's
we're
a
seeing
battle
each
of
other's
emotion
point of views. We really are. And I'm completely for it.
Oh, yeah,
I think
totally.
it's cool.
And I think this is just one of their things that they're
I'm
trying
just
to do.
saying.
That they're trying to revisit the same Star Wars theme, because Star Wars hasn't been a series of rationality and loyalty. It's been a story of love and emotion. We saw it in the sequels. The sequels were a story about love. How eventually Kylo Ren made his call back to the light because of his feelings for Rey. We saw Anakin, the whole point he turned to the dark side and left the Jedi way was because of his feelings for Padme and his thought to try and save her. And so I think that it is still these characters, they're making irrational decisions based off emotion. And it's the story they're still trying to carry on, is what I believe.
Sure. But again, I'd be completely fine with this decision if they were in love before he died.
Right.
Or presumably died. Whatever. Sacrificed himself. But they weren't. Because she rejected him.
What's your justification for the fact of how hard she's trying to get to him, though?
Again, before Ahsoka, she had no idea that he could even possibly be alive. Just saying.
Then why does she keep rewatching the holotape of him?
Because she misses him. Not because he's out there.
So if you miss someone with all of your being, you wouldn't try and fight to get to them? If you heard there was a chance for them to still be out there?
Again, we've been over this though. Her both outcomes were death. Giving the key up or destroying the key were ending in death. Just because it didn't doesn't mean the most rational being would be like, yeah, the possibility of death here is like, it's 2 for 2. Like, I'm done so.
Right, but I don't think that in that moment that those thoughts crossed her mind.
Of course not. And again, I want you to get this one emphasis here, okay? This one emphasis. They were not romantically involved.
Oh, I understand. I know
they
what
were
you're
not.
Saying. I know.
They were not in love at all.
Right.
All right. Okay. That's my only point. That's my strongest point here. Is if they were, I'd be completely okay with this decision.
Right.
But they have no history. Her love grew out of his absence, not his presence. Did you get that?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. It's completely okay if you disagree with me, because this isn't really an argument. This isn't an argument at all. Right, I'm just saying, like, this is my point of view here. and this is why I do not like the decision, and I don't like her currently. Okay?
Okay.
But now, okay, let's just say she destroyed the key and he didn't kill her. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka drew up a plan instantly to track her and said, "This is how I get to her even without the key."
Right.
If she destroyed the key, Ahsoka could have been like, "I know exactly how to find them anyway."
I think if she destroys the key, that they don't even kill her. I think if she destroys the key, they still take her as a prisoner and they lock her up somewhere. I don't think he kills her in the moment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That could be a possibility. Sure. But I'm just saying, like, Ahsoka drew up the plan to find them anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With or without the key, it was happening.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my basis, though.
Yeah. But anyway, we've gone 2 hours and almost 15 minutes.
For real?
Yeah.
I'd love to, like, the last 30 minutes was like this Star Wars debate again.
Like, it was like Star Wars.
True,
right.
It's like a full circle moment.
Yeah, it's like
right
10 minutes
back.
of general conversation, 10 minutes of conversation, then like an hour of talking about Star Wars in a whole, not talking about Ahsoka in whole, but talking about the Star Wars universe for an hour, then talking about Guardians of the Galaxy for 45 minutes, then spending this one influential moment in Ahsoka's episode 4 to hone in on our last 30 minutes of the pod.
Sounds like a W podcast.
It really was a W podcast. And I totally feel that one day, if we ever do an IRL podcast, that our podcasts are going to be this long every time.
Oh,
Easy.
probably.
Easy. And like even like how it went with like the way the podcast started, just general conversation. I feel like with the banter
what's funny?
based, it can last.
What's really funny? What's really funny?
Yeah.
I really want to talk football with you right now.
Well, me, totally.
like I feel like I really do, but it's already 11 o'clock. I should probably.
Yeah, my family's already tried to call me once, and I really, if we had gotten off by 10:30, I was actually probably going to play Minecraft because I actually started this really big project that I'm sad I haven't been uploading videos on, but I started this really big project that I've never done before. Finally attempted it, and I haven't uploaded a single video on it.
That's unfortunate.
Basically, and I'll also go ahead and make a quick disclaimer. Basically, the project that I'm working on is, for those of you who watch this that play Minecraft, basically, there's these sea temples underwater, right? Massive underwater temples. Full of water, full of enemies, completely submerged. Me and 2 other guys went in and drained the complete inside of it. So this whole massive building is completely surrounded by water, and we spent 3 hours of game time using sponges, sand, and dirt, and dried out the entire inside of the building where you can just walk in the front door and it's completely dry on the inside.
Wow.
Now, something that I saw Phil's a Minecraft do, not only do we drain out the inside, but now we drown out this massive radius around it to where now you have, like, say you're sailing on this flat ocean forever. It's flat ocean all around you. Suddenly you see this big pit go straight down. You pull your boat to the side of the pit and you look down, and it is just dry land with the massive temple sitting in the middle of it. This is the project I'm working on, and I spent over 3 hours yesterday playing on this world, gathering sand and stone to try and dry this thing out. I've got like 6 or 7 hours invested into this one project, and I'm not even 10% done with it. I've only dried out a small section of ground that's actually, like, you can look down from the top of it. About also, this is something that I forgot to tell you about. Minecraft, they basically figured out that one block is 3 feet. So, like, you know how Minecraft's a game of cubes and blocks, right? Forever.
Right.
Each block is 3 feet.
Okay.
And this thing is easily 60 blocks deep.
Oof.
And so basically, in real
180
life
feet.
terms, that's 180 feet deep down. 180 feet deep.
Dang.
And you got to do that, not just in one spot, but now that's just a straight 180 feet down, but only in a 3-foot radius.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 3-foot radius, 100 foot down. But now imagine doing that like 200 times, and it's not even 10%
Wow.
done. So that's 180 times like 200, and that's like the
Yeah.
square footage, and it's just like I haven't even like scratched
So
the
have
surface.
you like recorded some of this and you just haven't uploaded it yet, or do you just not recording it?
Not recording it. I've
Oh
wanted to
man.
like but the thing is though is you know it, but it's Rye Dog.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's his Minecraft realm. I've been playing with
Oh,
him and another friend, Loggy,
got you.
and we've been tuning into this world. And initially, it was just supposed to be a world that I just played with him, but it
Got you.
ended up turning into this thing where like the first day I played with him, we played for like an hour and a half, and I
Mm-hmm.
forgot that on Minecraft Bedrock Edition, there's two versions of Minecraft. Java, that's the one that you can mod, that I like playing a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And then there's Bedrock, which is the same version you can play on Xbox. Um, I've been playing Bedrock because he's able to like play on his Xbox or whatever, and I just joined through my PC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I forgot that when I downloaded CurseForge to mod my Minecraft, it came with Outplayed, which automatically records any game you play,
Mm-hmm.
and it records your audio, your game session. And
Right.
normally, if you don't want to record, you have to set it to, oh, let me manually activate it. But you have to do that to each game you play. You have to swap the settings that, oh, for this game, manual start. This game, manual start. Forgot to do that for Minecraft Bedrock. And then, like, as soon as I logged off that first day, it's just like, oh, here's an hour and 30 minutes worth of footage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all the audio in it. And so I uploaded uploaded one
Mm-hmm.
video. Um, and that's it. It's only got a small, minute portion of stuff we've done since then. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's only got like a small, minute portion of the project I'm actually working on, but in that video.
Yeah.
And what's surprising is like all of my videos that go for a long time get no views. This thing was like almost 2 hours long, and it's got like 11 views.
Nice.
And it's
Hopefully this podcast, two
hopefully this is
hours long.
podcast. 2 hours long. I don't even necessarily know if we can slap a review on this. Maybe just title this like
Um,
more of the conversation, episode number 12.
Maybe like a Ahsoka review and bantering. I don't know.
But
Oh, you could say Ahsoka and Guardians review if you wanted, because that's majority of our
I
topic.
think this is what I think we just call, because I think we just call it. I'll come up with a title for it, but I think we just leave it like basically cut and dry, like more than a conversation, episode number 12. But I'll put like a little title before that. But then in the thumbnail, I'll slap a bunch of stuff in there. Like there will be like Ahsoka images in there. There will be like Guardians of the
Okay.
Galaxy images in there. There'll be
All right.
like some college images in there, Minecraft images in there, and it's just gonna be like this kind of hodgepodge thumbnail.
Well, I mean, we never talked about college football, so.
We talked about college at the beginning. That was our banter.
Oh, college.
Yeah, we talked about
Oh yeah,
college for
sure.
like almost 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't know. Probably not put college stuff in the
man,
thumbnail.
that Colorado game.
That Colorado game was wild.
I stayed up to 2:30 watching the game, bro.
I went to bed at midnight. I was not about to
Oh
stay up late.
Lord, bro.
But
I
anyway,
thought it was over. They had like 2 minutes to go 98 yards, dude. I thought it was over. And then they ended up converting that 2 point play to send it to OT, and I was like, oh my God.
you know what though? You know what though?
Yeah.
R.I.P. Georgia Tech.
Wow.
Their season's basically over now.
I'm happy with the bowl appearance.
Yeah. If you can get a bowl appearance,
Yeah.
kudos to you.
I'm happy with that.
Hey, but did you see State is supposed to go like 8-4 this season, statistics wise?
Georgia State's like 3-0. That's crazy.
That's wild. They said it's the first time in
Great.
school history that they've went 3-0 to start the
Wow.
season. I was like,
Interesting.
kudos to you. Wait a second. I want to test something.
Should probably close this podcast out.
Probably should. But
Anyone who's made it this far is a goat, but probably nobody made this far.
I can actually oh my
What'd you
word.
do? I saw a nose pop up on the screen.
Oh my word. I can actually use the soundboard.
Soundboard? Interesting.
Oh my gosh, that is so I just realized I could use the soundboard if I ever wanted to use sounds in this.
All right, man.
But yeah, so thank you for everyone for tuning in to More Than a Conversation, episode number 12. This has been a really long podcast. I mean, normally you only see me play games for this long, but it was a thriller of a podcast. We covered several topics such as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Ahsoka, touched on college, football, life, just all kinds of stuff today. And so tune in again and see us talk about all this. And so for those of you who do not know, to follow me on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and stay in the loop for updated content by joining my Discord server that you can access through my YouTube channel. I appreciate all the love and support, guys. You guys are incredible, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So tune in next week for More Than a Conversation, episode number 13. Who knows what we talk about? Maybe we go 30 minutes, maybe we go 2.5 hours again. But you'll have to join in and figure out for yourself. So thank you guys for the love and support. And we will catch each and every one of you in the next one. Bye-bye.